more than a jokish hobby. So if you have 800 subscribers, why would it matter since you're not getting paid yet? At this point, I was irritated and annoyed. Look, Aunt EM, I have to go. I need to get dinner already. Very well, but I'm going to be talking to your mother about this, and I don't think she'll be happy to know how rude you've been to your cousin. Okay, bye. And sure enough, she did end up calling my mother and telling her everything about what happened. My mother eventually called me and told me about their conversation. She tells me that Auntie M was very disappointed in me and I was being highly unfair to her son and that I should learn some respect for the family. But my mum cut her off and told her that she was being incredibly rude for feeling entitled to my YouTube channel that I've been working hard on. Sure enough, Auntie M was shocked to hear that from her husband's sister and hung up. I don't know if I'll ever hear from Auntie M again, but I feel sorry for my cousin who seemed to understand this situation better than her, and he even messaged me and apologized for her behavior. You see, this is the kind of thing that I don't want to happen to me, but in a way I kind of want it to happen because it would make for such a good story like this one. Moving on to the next story, entitled Mother at GameStop, involving the police and me ending in handcuffs. I went to GameStop on Saturday to pick up chat with a friend and browse the merchandise. I also wanted to get an Xbox X and a PS4 along with some games, roughly spending more money there than I ever have before. I was there for about an hour or two having conversations with 3 people, 1 employee, my friend and the manager. After a while of talking with the employee about specifications between the consoles and the differences between the versions of the PS4, the manager stepped out for lunch. A short time later, entitled parent and entitled kid walked in and rushed to the Switch section. While I was sifting through the games, the employee went to ask them if they needed help finding anything. She asked some questions, but I tuned them out while me and my friend talked about certain games. About 20 minutes later, I knew what I was getting. The employee was getting everything together. The PS4 Pro, 2 controllers, PSVR and 5 games, an Xbox One X, an Elite controller, an Astro headset and 4 games. Wow. My friend was talking about a game he wanted, and I said I'd get it for him as a favor for helping me out a few months ago. He thanked me and that was it. Almost. The entitled parent and entitled kid saw what was going on and heard me and they came right over. And the entitled parent asked if I would help her and her children and buy them a game. I said no thank you. She was looking at me like I was crazy and said, "You're buying him what he wants, why won't you buy my kid something?" I told her that he's my friend and I'm giving him something back after he helped me out. She looked at everything on the counter and said, "How old are you? You're too old to be playing all these games. You don't need them, you should just give them to my kids." I said my age is irrelevant, people of any age can play video games and your children are too young to play the games I'm buying. They're rated M for mature and I'm not gonna buy your children things they don't need. She then tells her kids to beg for the video games and I quickly turn to her and tell her that you're not a responsible adult and parent by teaching your kids to beg for free stuff. She continues to tell her kids as I'm talking to my friend. Suddenly, I'm grabbed by 2 children pulling on me and jumping, begging me to get them something. I gently take their arms off me and keep them away and the kids began crying and the mother said, "You just touched my children, you pervert, I'm calling the police." A minute before she calls the police, the manager comes back and sees me grabbing the kids and pushing them away and tells me to let go of those kids. I told him the whole story but he wasn't believing it, he only saw a fragment of the confrontation. The manager talks to the woman and she completely lies about what happened. She said that I tried to bribe her to touch her kids while nobody was looking and to even attempt to bribe her with the games I was buying. I was laughing at the conversation that was being had and I said, "Surely you can't believe this." But he was already on the phone with the cops. The employee was in the back of the building during all of this and I thought I was screwed because I've seen issues like this and worse because people automatically go with the woman's story. I may be wrong in some implications, but it's very common for people to believe women over anything. Really, is that true? 10 minutes later, the cops arrive and when I try to talk to one of them, the entitled mum butts in to give her story first. So she tells the same story to the cops and the manager tells the same and the cops look at me and one of them puts me in handcuffs without hearing my side. I'm totally freaking out by how this has come down onto me being the bad guy based on a lie. I finally get to tell them my side of the story and even my friend backs me up, but I was told, "Her story is more believable than yours." And I said, "You'll believe her without proof?" They have security cameras in every corner of this building. Look at the footage and see for yourself. The look on her face was life-shattering. She tried to say that that she wasn't going to press charges, but they wanted to keep her there. The manager and one of the officers go look at the surveillance video and soon come out and take the cuffs off of me, and they apologized. They asked her why she attempted to lie to them and ruin my life and reputation, and she replied with, "He's too old to be playing those games, he should give them to me and my kids." They asked me if I wanted to press charges. I said no, but I don't want her to get a slap on the wrist for this. They talked to her outside, and after identifying her, they found that she had a warrant for her arrest for something else. I was just flabbergasted over the whole situation. The manager tried to apologize for how I reacted to the situation, and I just told him I wanted a copy of the footage. He asked why, and I said ask the cops, cause I will be making a complaint on how you presented yourself. A few moments later, I get a copy and go home, and I didn't even want the games anymore. A few days later, I found out that the store was closed down awaiting new staff members. I may have caused an issue with the retail manager, but he should have handled the situation much more professionally. He should have checked the surveillance video in the beginning instead of calling the police. If he had done that, then that woman wouldn't have gotten arrested and he wouldn't have been fired. I mainly feel bad for the children involved in this. They are being raised by a crazy woman who thinks begging and lying is the only way to get what you want in life. Yep, I totally agree with you there. In my opinion, to ensure that justice is served, you really need to press charges on this entitled parent. If nothing happens to her, she'll keep raising her kids in this bad way and probably do things again. Think about what effect that might have on her children in the future. Anyway, that is the end of this video. Thank you very much for watching the entire way through. Click the video on screen for some more entitled parents, and I will see you all tomorrow with some more Reddit content. What is going on, everyone? Welcome back to the channel. I hope you're all having an amazing day. Today I've got two mental entitled parent stories for you, so let's jump straight into the first one. Entitled mum thinks I have to give her child my skateboard. So this happened a few days ago. I like to skateboard, and recently I decided to get back at it and got a new board since it's been years since I've been out skateboarding. I went to the skate shop and got me a new board, and since I had a lot of time to spare and I was already outside, I thought I'd take advantage and go to the nearest skate park to test it out and have a bit of fun. Since I've been in lockdown with a lot of pent up energy and stress, haven't we all? So I went to the skate park. Now next to the skate park there's a playground, so it's common for kids to invade the skate area that is already horrible, to the point that skateboarders had to add obstacles to the park to skate. I skated for a while and sat down for a bit to rest since I'm out of shape and not used to skating anymore like before. I sat on one of the benches at the skate park with the board under my feet trying to catch my breath again. The park was kinda empty since it was around 3 PM and we're in the middle of Miss Rona. There were a few kids on the playground and on the skate park, so one kid comes to me mesmerized at the skateboard and asks me if he can take a ride on it since they never had a skateboard before and he liked it a lot. I wasn't using it, so I let him skate for a while until I was good enough to go back to use the skateboard. In the past, I skated a lot in this park, and a few kids in the past have asked if they could use my skates or switch skates or even skate together, especially little girls since I'm a girl and they are not used to see girls skateboarding. I said, sure, go ahead. I'll go buy a bottle of water and I'll be right back. Take care of it, okay? The kid said okay and started to skateboard. There's a bar kind of thing in front of the park, so I went there to buy a bottle of water and I kept my eye on the kid in the park. I went back and sat on the bench again. The kid came to me asking for help for some stuff, like pushing and going on some ramps. I didn't want him to get hurt, so I taught him how to push properly and to bend his knees when you skate up a ramp. He skated for a bit more until he gave it back to me and thanked me. And now here is where the problem begins. When the kid gives me back the skateboard, his entitled mum comes up to me and starts, "So you were the one who gave my son the skateboard?" Yeah, I lended it to him for a while since he asked politely. Well, if he was polite, why didn't you let him stay with it? I was confused, so I answered, I don't understand. Give my skateboard to him? Yeah, you weren't even using it, so you don't need it. I'm sorry, Mum, but I can't do that. I bought it for me to get some exercise, and I don't know you. Even if I did know you, the skateboard is mine. I can't give it to your son. She scoffed like she wasn't believing me. How dare you be such a brat? My son has never had a skateboard, and you saw how happy he was using it. You could buy him one. Skateboards for beginners are not that expensive, and it's a great investment. No, I want you to give him yours. Can't you stop being selfish? Just give it to him and buy another one for you. This was getting out of hand, so I stood up and kept talking politely to her. Mom, again, I'm sorry, I can't do that. I can recommend you a skate shop here with good prices though. But I couldn't even finish the phrase as she tried to get the skateboard from my hand. So I hugged the board to get out of her reach and told her to stop. Where are your parents? I want to talk to them and tell them you're not giving my son what's his. I'm 19 and have a baby face, but I work. I'm an artist and get all my money from commissions, and I was done with this woman. Mom, we are both adults. If I got this skateboard because I worked for it and paid for it with my own money, I'm not going to give it to your son. You can buy one for him if you want. I'm not a charity centre to give my things out to strangers. The woman tried to get my skateboard again, but this time I was so done and annoyed that I put it on the floor and skated out of the park. She kept yelling how I was selfish and was not giving her son my skateboard and how I stole from her son. I was tired and done. I left the park on my board so I could go fast enough so that the entitled mum wouldn't come after me. It's kind of a shame in this one. I feel like this entitled mum just ruined the entire experience for her kid. The kid seemed like super polite, you know? Came up to Opie, asked politely if they could have a go on the skateboard, had a go, didn't break it, you know, asked for help even, and then when they were done just gave it back and they were done with it. Just very grateful for the opportunity. Whereas the entitled mum clearly just ruined that entire experience, as I said, and then said, oh yeah, you need to give it to my son now. I mean, why? No one ever thinks like that, come on. You know, part of me feels like you want to see should have just picked up your skateboard, cocked it back, and then smashed the entitled mum with it. Although that is probably a terrible idea and is obviously assault. So yeah, don't do that in the future. That's the kind of way that you may want to deal with an entitled parent at some point in your head. But yeah, obviously don't do that in real life. That was a little bit extreme, wasn't it? Yeah, OP, what you did was very calm and collected. Fair play. That's better than what I would have done, clearly. Oh, and by the way, guys, a lot of you were asking me about the coloured Redditor t-shirts because I didn't have any photos of them last time around. But you know, I'm wearing one right now. Let me know what you think. You can see the design. It's a little bit different on the coloured tees. We've got red, pink, yellow, green, blue. Just go and check them out. They're really cool. I'm not actually going to lie. These might be my favourites. Link to these, as always, is in the description, the pinned comment, and in the merch shelf down below. It's super simple to go and check them out. Yeah, please do. Now moving on to our second story. Entitled Aunt tried to use my parents to steal from me. Now, I honestly never thought that my parents would be stupid enough to be caught like this. They've never done anything like this to my other siblings, but hey. This incident happened because my aunt decided to lie and try and steal from me. What a lovely aunt you have right there. So, a few years back, I moved out of the family home and I bought my own home. A nice little place I could call my own and do my own crazy ideas that I couldn't really get away with before. Naturally, I'd given my parents a spare key just in case there was an emergency or I forgot to return something. Now, after a while of living on my own and saving a few quid here and there, I managed to get my gaming room / nerd cave all set up. Me and my old man built a custom desk so I could have my Xbox, my computer, and my Switch. It's not a fancy setup like I've seen online, but I love it, even more that the desk is mine. There are a few wobbly cuts, paint's not dried like I thought it would, but it's perfect to me. So naturally, after finishing it and testing it, making sure that things were in reach when I sat down, I had to show off. So a few pictures were taken and shared online, because the internet is mainly for bragging and showing off, yeah, you're right. I had a message from my aunt saying that as I'm an adult, I shouldn't be playing silly games and that I should give her kids the Switch. Naturally, I said no, but I promised if I got bored with it, I will message her offering the first chance to buy it. I don't think she approved as she left me on red. Well, imagine getting left on red by your aunt. That is mad. That all happened at the start of the year, but then the pandemic hit and I thought nothing more of it. Now, after most of the year being on furlough, restrictions are easing off and I'm back at the office working. The other day, I got a call from my mum. She's at my place with my auntie to pick up the Switch I had promised to my cousins. Now, I had let a friend of mine borrow it because him and his wife were thinking about one and wanted to try it. I told my mum, just wait, I'm finishing in a few minutes and I'll be there. I get home and sure enough, I see mum's car and my auntie's car. I burst through the door and make mum and auntie jump. I say, looking at my aunts, what do you bloody think you're doing here? I'm here for that Switch. You said I could have it. I said if I get rid of it, I'll sell it to you. My mum said, but you told me you bought it off of him. Well, it ain't here. Well, I'll take the other thing. I started walking to her before mum calmed me down. Get out now, and I never want to see your face here. If I do, I'm calling the police. My aunt quickly left, and mum started apologizing to me and told me how my aunt said she had bought it off me, but she had also said that we were struggling to organize a time for her to pick it up. I looked at her, and all I could say was I want my spare key back. Now I'm being bombarded by my sister and brother about how I made my mum cry. But I asked them, how would you like it if mum was going through your stuff and giving away your expensive belongings? Yeah, OP, I'm not gonna lie, I think you're being a bit harsh there. Your mum only had it in everyone's best interest. I mean, I assume that you can trust your aunt, you know, it's her sister. She probably believes that she can trust her, but you know, she just got it wrong on this occasion. It wasn't your mum's fault though. I mean, your aunt did say to her, this is a transaction that we have actually agreed on, so your mum would be a bit weird to say, no, I'm not gonna, you know, agree with you. I'm not gonna help you out in making that transaction happen and helping you going to get the Switch. Yes, I get what you're gonna say. I can read the comments already, guys. I know you're all typing down there. I know what you're gonna say. Maybe the mum should have checked with OP first, and that is probably what I would have done. But this is definitely not your mum's fault. And OP, you definitely shouldn't have got at her and taken away the spare key, making her cry. That was a bit of a D move, let's just say that. But, you know, moving on to your aunt, yeah, very entitled woman. Nothing more I can say about her apart from the fact that she is crazy and entitled and a bit manipulative, well, a lot manipulative, very toxic, and ultimately she is a thief. Like, if you're trying to steal something, even from your family member, you are a thief. I'm sorry to say that. Guys, comment down below. Is OP... I don't want to use a bad word here, but is OP a bit up himself, a bit arrogant perhaps, a bit short fused, a bit short tempered, just because I don't know how you could possibly have a go at your mum here. I've said it already. She's trying to be nice to the family, trying to be nice to her sister, and ultimately trying to be nice to you because she is helping the aunt get the Switch when you're not there. So I don't see the problem with that. Yes, you got it wrong, but you know, it wasn't that much of a bad deal, was it? I'm just reading through the comments and everyone's like, oh, your mum was foolish to believe her. No, put this in a real world perspective where you don't know that your aunt is entitled, and just think, if you have a sister that you've known for, let's say, what, 40 years plus, you're probably gonna trust them. I mean, like, it's just a common human thing to do, is trust your sister. So I don't understand why the comments are getting at her here. I'm not getting at her at all. I think, as I've already said, that OP went a bit too far. But yes, of course, your aunt is entitled. Just don't speak to her again. Pretty simple. Anyway, boys and girls and men and women and grandparents, especially you, the grandparents, I'm talking to you right now. I hope you've enjoyed this video. I know you're probably laughing at me, but there is actually a small percentage of people that watch this that apparently, according to my analytics, are over the age of 60. Pretty interesting stuff. Shout out to the 6-year-olds, including my granny, who is probably watching right now. Shout out to you. What a weird outro this has been. If you want more, click the end screen, subscribe, and I'll see you all tomorrow with some more content. What is going on, everyone? Welcome back to my channel. I hope you're all doing well. Now, as you can probably tell by the title, in this video, I'm going to be bringing you one of the most crazy entitled parent stories I've genuinely ever read. But before we get into it, firstly, I need you all to do 3 very important things. Number 1 is go and subscribe to Redditor Plays. That's right, it's back. I'm playing games again, uploading them on YouTube and having an amazing time. I've already uploaded one video over there on Fall Guys. It's a great game. A lot of work went into that video, and yeah, I think you'll agree if you go and watch it, it's highly enjoyable. Number 2 is go and check out my brand new merch if you haven't done already. Right now it's 20% off, and I promise you it is the best quality YouTuber merch that you can get right now on the internet. It is top notch. It's a great price anyway, and if you use code SUMMEREND, you will get a 20% discount. I mean, how good is that? And thirdly, if you are not already, please make sure you are subscribed to this channel. It genuinely saddens me to say this, but guys, over half of you watching right now are not subscribed to my channel. You have to take a look at yourself in the mirror at some point and think to yourself, what am I doing here? It's completely free. You get new content every day, and you know, you might as well love it. And you can always unsubscribe later if you want to, but you know, also don't do that. Anyway, with all that out of the way, make sure you are subscribed, notifications on, and let's get into this mental story. My parents keep breaking my PS4s that I pay for and continue to threaten to break every new one. Okay, so I've been trying to find the right place to talk about this, since I've not really got anywhere else to talk about it. I'm gonna start on the first PS4. For a while now, my parents have been pretty big fans of breaking our stuff or disciplining us if we misbehaved. But as time went on, their disciplining didn't really affect me because I was used to it. Since I would show no reaction like they wanted me to, they would result in taking or breaking my belongings. They would always use the same saying, "There isn't democracy democracy in this household, it's a dictatorship, and you do what we tell you to when we tell you. Wow. So many times I've wanted to say, every single country that tried a dictatorship has failed. But you know, I'm just trying to get the whole situation over with and not be called a D-head by my dad, lol. I can't remember the reason why the first PS4 was broken, but I can remember the last two, and I will say how and why they did it. The second PS4 I bought was a new one, just like the last one, with a whole terabyte. It lasted for a while. Fast forward a couple months later, my brother and I get in an argument completely not regarding of the PS4. My mum gets mad and says, "Since you guys want to always argue, I'm throwing this PS4 away." We were obviously still mad at each other, but then I noticed what she said and went on to ask, why is she throwing out the PS4 I paid for? She went on to say, "This is my house and you will do what I say, and this PS4 is a demon." So she legitimately continues to throw my PS4 about 5 feet off the ground onto the grass. I was just in disbelief that she just broke my PS4 over something that had nothing to do with it. Now, on to the next PS4. At this point, I'd obviously lost trust in my family, so I bought a used PS4 with 500 gig. It cost me $180. I'm pretty sure I was robbed, lol. The first thing she says when I get the PS4 inside the house is, "I can break this one just like the others." I was annoyed and I just responded, "I'll just break your TV then," and she laughed it off. Obviously, I wasn't going to break the TV because I don't like getting my butt beat by my dad, lol. Fast forward a couple of months and I get into an argument with her because I said, "I'll do it right after this match." And for some reason, she decided to unplug my PS4, grab a bat, and in front of the neighbors breaks my PS4. She believes I'm emotionally attached to the PS4 and it's a demon, but I'm not attached to it at all. I'm just annoyed that my money has been wasted again. All I said was, "If you're gonna make me watch, at least do it inside without the neighbors watching," I said after it all. She again discusses how, "You do what I say when I say, you should be thankful for all this," and whatnot. At this point, my payback was simple, just stop communicating. I started becoming a lot quieter and not telling them about what I'm thinking and stuff like that, just overall being the quiet kid. I rebought another PS4 cheap, and I kid you not, I got the "I'll break that one also" BS. Luckily, I still have this PS4, and I've been not using it at all with her inside the house, clearly showing that I don't trust her at all. She realized this and said, "Why aren't you playing?" And I happily responded, "Because you might break it." I didn't look at her face because I was on my phone, but all I heard was her leave my room, which actually felt great to finally let them know I don't trust them at all with my belongings. If my new PS4 is broken, I'll make sure to update this forum. But as for now, I'm grounded from using my PS4, which is new. Now, after having this post up and replying to many comments, I've finally come to my senses. And I'm truly sad about how I really feel, and I've been hiding my feelings to myself. Thank you everyone for helping me realize what's wrong with this. Yeah, honestly man, this is one of the most troubling stories I think I've read in a long time on this subreddit. I mean, even from that initial quote where your dad says that this is a dictatorship, this household, I was really worried right then, and then as the story progressed and the reasons for, you know, destroying your PlayStations got worse and worse, I feel for you, man. The most sad part about this story for me, for sure, is not your parents being horrible people, because obviously that is terrible, but it's the way that it's affected you. It's made you go inside your own shell. You said yourself, you're not open with your parents anymore, you become more of a quiet person. And that not only is just a bad thing, it's also potentially a dangerous thing. You know, if you were a loud person before and you spoke about what you thought about, that sort of stuff, even with your friends, you know, outside the house, and now you keep it all bottled up inside. In terms of mental health, I mean, that's not a good thing. I feel like this is just a terrible, terrible story, isn't it, really? Guys, leave your comments down below. Leave your advice down below for this guy. What do you think he should do in this situation? Because it sounds like he's still quite young. He's having to, you know, pander to his parents' thoughts and do exactly as they say, or else he'll have his PS4 battered again. So what can he do in this situation? How can he make his life better? Let me know down below, because honestly, I'm not completely sure in this situation. Now moving on to our next story. Mum begs for money despite buying a new house and car. Okay, so I guess this is a great place to let this ridiculousness fly. What a perfect sentence, by the way, to start with. A little backstory. My mum, who is on SSDI, top tier almost 2.8k a month, has a very hard time budgeting. Last year, she decided to sell my grandparents' house on Oregon to move back to Seattle area. She got the house by having my grandma with dementia change the will and cut out her two siblings, my uncle and aunt. And after my grandma passed, the house and all the savings and belongings went to my mum. So she sells the house, and instead of buying a reasonable home, she has limited mobility and a bad prescription drug addiction and falls often, she buys herself and her 3 cats a 4,000 square foot home in a gated community. There was literally no money left over after the sale/acquisition of the new home. I had to help by paying for a moving van and helpers. Before this, she had a settlement from a slip/fall lawsuit of roughly 50k, which she instantly rolls into a brand new 2018 Toyota Highlander. She had been left my grandma's 2009 Aspen SUV, but the gas mileage was not good enough. Then she backs into a tree and busts the taillight on her new car a few months after buying it. She goes to the dealership to fix her taillights and decides she needs a brand new 2019 fully loaded Highlander with a tow package. Now she has nothing to tow, so this is a mystery. She trades in her 2018 with 5k miles on it and takes out a 35k car loan. And this is on a fixed income and she always has money struggles. So here is like roughly $80,000 of car at this point. Excellent. She is constantly begging my brother, sister, and I for money. We are 38, my brother, 36, me, 27-year-old sis, and all trying to establish ourselves in our lives. And we're all trying to establish ourselves in our lives, careers, and financial security. I am a stay-at-home mum with 2 young kids. We live off my husband's income as an apprentice tradesman and have to be very frugal. We qualify to live in low-income housing, and I find ways to be resourceful, like donating our time and vehicles to help a local food bank so we are able to get some food as well as help the community. We don't own a home or brand new fancy cars, and if you take away rent and do the math for just us 2 adults, we live on less than her monthly SSDI. Yet every month she has a sad story about how she can't afford X or Y. She finally cancelled her $175 a month TV plan. I've asked her more times than I can count to please not bring up money matters